What was the most obvious hint a girl gave you that you missed? I was on a hiking trip with my college. You paid like $40 and they gave you all the equipment and you spent a week or so with 15 plus people and a few guides. We went to a hot spring. My tent got ripped. The guides had a spare but we hadn't set it up yet. A lady sat in the hot spring with me at night and decided to go naked while I was in the spring with her. She then asked if I wanted to stay in her tent rather than put up the spare one. I said nah, I can put up the spare one. I'm okay. Took me 3 months to realize that she was literally naked and asking me to sleep with her. Case closed. You win this thread. Nah, he doesn't. I read a comment and go, that's dumb AF, next one won't be as dumb as this. And there we go, surpassing the previous dumb one, we have a new one. Oh man. And I just know she never forgot the hard pass rejection lol. Oh god, I didn't even think about that. I was stuck on the stupidity on my end. I never saw her again after the trip. You know, I've never kissed a man with a beard. My literal response was yeah, me neither. Jesus effing Christ dude. He's okay now, he's a dad. Jesus. No, he definitely kissed at least one guy with a beard. Before I got with my ex, we had both been at a party out in a state park at night. On the way back home she ended up on another guy's lap sitting next to me. About a minute into the ride she said something like, your belt hurts. Hey Stuck, can I sit with you instead? Sure, no problem. I had huge crush on her and was nervous AF, but I was up for it. The rest of the ride she's talking quietly in my ear about normal stuff. How much fun the party was. About an upcoming party and if I was going. She had her arms around me and everything. Only after we ended up getting together a couple months later she told me she thought I was either gay or the dumbest man on earth because she was trying to get me to kiss her. I mean, it worked out in the end, but I still dislike that I missed an extra 2 months with that woman. I would have assumed she was into the other dude if she was sitting on his lap. I would have done the same. If she just met him at the party then yes. But it's not unheard of for friends to do that with each other. Physical affection isn't inherently romantic. But men are stupid or gay when they don't assume it. Absolutely genius. Went to her place after a night out at the bar with a big group of friends. I thought she was just being nice and offering me a place to sleep closer to the bar. As it was winter and my house was far away. Are you sure you want to sleep on the couch? My room's more comfortable. I'm good on the couch. Stupid me. Her lying in bed, now there's just a dude sleeping in my house. Appreciate this because I was the same. Do you want to sleep over my place? Do you have a couch? No I don't. Well then where would I sleep? This, 100% this would be my reaction. I had this little male reproductive organ dinosaur thing a friend 3D printed. I had a girl over for dinner and she was playing with it and broke the tail. I was like, you broke my male reproductive organ. And she said if only there was another one I could play with. She finished dinner. I walked her to her car, and I went inside. The moment my head hit the pillow I realized. You can't just tell us you had a male reproductive organ or not show us the male reproductive organ or. Here you go. My male reproductive organ before it was broken. We have been blessed. This comment and thread as a whole is so relatable to me. It may even help to dull some of the extreme moments of cringe that suddenly hit me from time to time when thinking back on moments in my life. Want to come over to my place to help me study? My parents are away on a trip. This was in college and I was a complete gaming nerd without a clue in the world. I would immediately ask what they need help with and be oblivious to the hint and show up with a notebook and pencil before even thinking of a sliver of a possibility that they like me. She was sitting on my lap, basically straddling me, and said, making out is so fun. Dude, that's not a hint. That's a effing freight train with a big glowing neon blinking sign saying just kiss me already. I'm not saying I'm proud of, I'm just saying that's how it happened. Condolences. Ike, sounds like she was just Canadian to me. Best not to assume anything. All of them. Seriously, I can't take a effing hint even if it was a effing sign hitting me in the face. I'm in my 50s. I don't know if anyone has ever tried to give me a hint. I do know I've never gotten one. Though. In my 50s, too. This is why people our age never heard of date RE. Chicks practically had to RES. LOL. True. Same here. My first GF I had literally carried to me on a festival and my friend said here talk to him, he's single. I was a little tipsy so had a sliver of confidence. That's the only way it could have worked. Ages ago I was looking for a rare action figure and I asked this really hot goth sales clerk if they had it. She was totally into the line of toys as well and told me they usually get one per shipment, so call on their delivery day to see if they got one. We then spent like 15 minutes talking about various comic and anime things before I had to leave. She stopped me and said, if you call the store you might not get me, so call me directly, and gave me her phone number. This was before cell phones, so it was her home number and clearly would be useless for having her check if something was in stock. I found the figure the next day at a different store, so I never called her. This sounds like something a friend of mine would have done. It's absolutely hilarious. Got me to laugh out loud. Bruh. She asked to come with me inside the bathroom. I found it a bit weird, but I said okay. As soon as we were inside the bathroom, she showed me a condom and said, look what I have. I responded nice and proceeded to pee. It flushed and said, your turn. She didn't have to pee. I said, well then. And went back. It hit me 5 years later. 5 years. I love that you replied to your own comment to emphasize the 5 years. I was laying on my friend's living room floor in university talking to him while he was sitting on the couch playing video games, and his roommate, F, stepped over me, right above my head, while wearing a short skirt multiple times. After the third time I went to move out of her way and she told me to stay there and relax. She did it a couple more times after that. It wasn't until years later that he asked me why I just completely ignored her and didn't do anything. I was oblivious to the flirty comments she was apparently making to me. The fact that, while she stepped over me repeatedly, there was no reason to do it above my face, or the fact that she wasn't actually going anywhere to do anything other than flash me. Right. Maybe I'm too nice, but I would have given you a heads up at the very least. If not throw you into her bedroom, lol. Maybe he had a thing for her? Yeah, that's bro code sh. I'm a little offended on his behalf that his friend didn't let him know. I told her F you and she replied when? Ooh man, this one hurts. We were at a sleepover and she played with my hair for like an hour and I woke up in her arms. Damn bro, she was a keeper. Do me a favor and kiss next time, is what she texted me. I didn't understand. What part didn't you understand though? Maybe he's never understood what doing a favor meant, but beats me. She said that she was feeling different about me and that she couldn't stop thinking of me. My answer was, are you mad at me? My guy. How did you F up that badly? I know, right? Mother effer, acting like an anime character over here. I can empathize with that reaction, as someone who makes people mad fairly often. I was typing it out, but then the regrets and sadness took over. I'm feeling this deeply. She ran after me to introduce herself at the end of class. The only interaction we had before was an across-the-room smile. I'm such an idiot. Also, during my first job, the boss made me check that the restrooms were clean. Well, one of my female coworkers decides she wants to help me. She entered the men's restroom with me, making sure we were alone. I fumbled both times. Both of them were cute too. Second one may not have been a hint, especially if nothing else followed up to indicate she's flirting. She may have just not wanted to do other work and figured bathrooms are easy. Without context, you are actually right. We spent like 30 minutes pretending to clean, while all we actually did was change the toilet paper because it was low. However, after that day, she started asking things like if I was single or if I was seeing anyone. One of my other coworkers invited me to a small party, and he specifically mentioned that the girl was going to be there. There were more signs that I didn't notice at the time because I'm stupid. I guess it just seems more obvious to me because I have more context. Back in college I was working with a girl named Rachek. We both got off work around 3 am. I always walked her out to her car. One night she invited me to come to her apartment for pancakes. Told her I appreciated it, but I wasn't hungry. I didn't understand the weird, hurt look she gave me until years later. Imagine your weird, hurt look if you had accepted and then found out there were no pancakes. Honestly, once after a date I got invited to check out a pizzeria across from her row home. We just had to stop inside first. I was starving, and when I realized she didn't want to get lunch I left after a bit of kissing. She was probably upset, but I was hungry and looking forward to pizza for the 20-minute walk there. I can jack off just fine. S is a lower priority than good food any day. Based. Who did she think she was? Prince? You only get pancakes after a game of basketball. Was a junior in high school, sort of dating a co-worker who was a freshman or sophomore in college. She graduated early high school at like 16. Was in college early, yada yada, so there wasn't a huge age gap. Anyway, hanging out at her apartment and she kept talking about how she needed to take a shower. I kept telling her to go take one. She then asked if I wanted to take one with her, to which I just laughed. She again mentioned needing to take a shower. So I picked her up, carried her to the bathroom and set her down on the bathtub ledge and walked out. The water started running and she opens the door and asks if I want to take one with her. I just laughed. A few months later, after we were no longer dating, I was walking along somewhere and it wasn't even a thing on my mind and it clicked what I had missed. Dumb man brain. You were super committed to cock blocking yourself there. Like, you ever think dudes are cute? Ha ha ha. Wasn't the only time I cock blocked myself, but it was the situation with the most obvious signals. I feel you, bro. My comment to the post wasn't much better. I honestly still think of it a couple times a year. 30 years later, lol. Not sure if this was a hint, but I think it was. We just had a nice hangout and now we're sat down on my bed, chatting. We both laid back and talked about life. I forget the exact wording, but she asked or said something like a lot of people would consider this a date. To which I responded by explaining how I do fun one-on-one hangouts all the time, and if this kind of thing was considered a date, then that means I go on dates with my other straight guy friends all the time. Edit. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of upvotes but no one is telling me if they think it was a hint. Lol, this one is dumb but kinda wholesome. Gotta take the homies on a date sometimes, you know. How the heck would I know? I missed it. Honestly, same. The only ones that I found out about later were so long ago that there's no particular instance for me to recall. People might see us. We need somewhere more private. Missed it. What were you guys doing? Laundering money. My first job was bagging groceries in a supermarket. One of the cashiers, Linda, was a punk, like a real punk. Had an Operation Ivy sticker on her car and everything. Sigh AF too. Somehow, I, 16 meters and definitely not even remotely a punk, was the only one who could make her laugh. Many had tried, all had failed. But there was a new sheriff in town. I was 16 and she was 18, about to start college. We had sort of a bond money penny thing going. I thought we were just kidding around with each other. Turns out, we were flirting and I was too big of a moron to realize it. So, one night she cornered me and asked if I wanted to come to her house the following night, when we were both off work, to watch movies and stuff because my parents are out of town. I laughed and said no can do. I was going out with a friend. 16 yo me was a moron. Anyway, Linda flew to Europe to start college in August and we haven't seen each other since then. I used to drive this girl to school. She lived on the other side of the district. Had to go past the school to pick her up every day. Prom was coming up. She kept complaining that she didn't have a date. I told her not to worry, that she was really pretty, and someone was bound to ask her. I'm an idiot. Darn, you really are. Yep, of course her next move should have been to ask him who he was going to prom with. Sucked my dick. I thought we were just friends. Wait, friends weren't supposed to suck each other's dick? Those rogues fooled me. My wife and I were friends for over 8 years before we got together. Used to take her out on friend dates, mostly coffee, but we went to an Italian restaurant, got some wine, went to chill at my place. She sat on my bed but I didn't think she had an interest to break the friend zone, so I didn't read into it at all. She later told me she was trying to tell me she was ready to get down. That's not obvious enough. Since you were friends for 8 years, I wouldn't say sitting on your bed counts for anything. At that long a time I'd say you have to verbalize it. How did you end up getting together? Yeah, I don't blame myself for not picking up the hint, but she was being abnormally playful flirtatious at the time. I just figured it was the wine. We took a long drive together to visit a mutual friend a short time after. Wasn't until then that we both knew we were mutually interested. She detested cigarettes, wouldn't seriously date a smoker. So I quit cold turkey on that drive with her. And I had been at over a pack a day for like a decade prior. Over those 8+ years of friendship, it was like the timing was never right. Either she or I or both would be in a relationship. So it was rare that we were both single at the same time. But I love that we were just friends for all those years. By the time we got together it was already clear to both of us that marriage was in sight. We weren't dumb about it though. Had a 1.5 years engagement period. She's been the light of my life for almost 20 years now. I'm so happy that you no longer smoke and you scored a great partner. Zoe, the junior on my bus while I was a freshman. We used to flirt a lot and I would get off at her stop to walk her home as mine was the next block anyways. Eventually she invited me in as her parents always got home later. I was super inexperienced and only had S twice with the same person before. We started making out and it got real hot and heany and eventually I had her pants down and was fingering her. She stopped for a second and said, "Don't you want to move to the bed? We were on this chair thing." I sh you not. My brain short-circuited and my mind went blank until I forced out, "It's okay. I'm fine." Really? It's okay. I'm fine? She gave me a weird look but continued for a couple minutes until she got up, said you should go before my parents get home, and ushered me out. She avoided me completely moving forward. The worst part? She suddenly had a new guy that she flirted with in the bus. That had it red getting off on her stop. I know what those F'ers were up to. So basically, clothes coming off and all up in the business. Invited to bed, and I couldn't fathom that she actually wanted to F. Got replaced with new bud guy within 48 hours. Then aside from the missed opportunity, it's probably still good. If she wasn't that serious and you were very inexperienced, it also could have backfired. But I gotta say, it is funny lol. One day, in class, a girl I was friends with told me there was a girl in her class that was into me. She said if I could guess who it was, she'd tell me. I proceeded to list just about every girl in her class before she caved and said me, "It's me, you idiot." Maybe a normal person would have caught on before naming the 15th girl. Lol. Bwah ha 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 ha. Oh, I shouldn't laugh, but that is hilarious. I have lots of stories. I'm not sure why I can't read girls, but I think it's because I think low of myself. I don't see myself as desirable. First time I hooked up with my now GF, 9 years together. We walked home to our student house alone. She wanted to hang with me that night, it seemed. I told her many times, "Shouldn't you go out and have fun? The other's probably waiting for you. It's probably not fun to hang here with me," and so on. I had no clue until she grabbed my head and kissed me. To this day, we laugh about it, how she always wanted me, and I had no clue. But there is also something sad about it. It's not a direct feeling of being less than others. It's more built in. I was never considering the option of her being into me. I'm in this comment and I don't like that. Invited me to dinner with a friend. Friend didn't show up. We ate. I drove her home. She invited me in. Led me to her bedroom. We sat down on her bed. I said, "Well, thanks for having me. I should be getting home because I have school tomorrow. I hope you did well in school that semester." This super athletic gorgeous girl jacked up her mile time to literally hold my hand and pull me with her after I told her I'd never actually finished the mile run in gym. And I never washed that hand again. Some cartoon character. Were you into her at all? And were you happy that she did that? I had a crush on her for sure, but she wasn't out, and in that area it was pretty uncommon to find girls my age who were gayby. So I just assumed she was being nice and didn't want to make her uncomfortable. I was kind of happy and also kind of embarrassed by my sheer lack of athleticism XD. "Hey, you can stay over and hang out," because she was so pretty. I didn't think she was serious. So I said, "Oh, that's nice of you. Don't want to impose, and I'm sure you got other things going on." She said, "I'm asking you to stay." The look made it very clear her motive. And I thought you'd never ask. I stayed over and we developed a FWB kind of relationship, where we dated others. I got serious with my now wife and broke it off. It's been over 20 years and still work in the same industry and occasionally interact with her, but nothing romantic. However, admittedly I've wondered what would have happened. I went to a Halloween party with a female friend. She and I themed our costumes at her suggestion to match. She suggested we leave the party early and return to her dorm. I thought she just wanted a ride home, and declined her invitation to join her in her dorm for a party that was being hosted by her floormates because I'm introverted and was already tapped out by the prior party. In hindsight, she was trying very hard to make me see she liked me and I was being painfully dense. If it makes you feel better, a girl in high school constantly tried to hug me and talk to me at every occasion. And once straight up tried to kiss me, and after 3 years since seeing her last time 1 month ago I realized she may have had a crush on me. Dense people stand together, brother. When I was 18, I was hanging out with a girl I was interested in and her friend at the friend's house. The girl I was into went to the bathroom and sent me a text that said my PS why needs your mouth. I thought she was just joking and she came back to the living room 10 minutes later looking disappointed. This has to take the cake for most oblivious. Agreed. Like 10 years ago, I went to spend the night at the place of a girl I was super into. We watched Doctor Who for like 7 hours and I started nodding in and out of sleep. Me, "Hey, I'm getting really tired. Where should I sleep?" Her, "Well, if you want, you can crash on the couch and I can take the bed, or I can take the couch and you take the bed, or I don't know. We could both take the bed." Me, "Okay, I'll take the couch, good night." I either didn't hear that last option or it didn't register until she told me the next day and I was mortified. Did you guys ever get together? Ultimately, no, which was my fault. I was only 20 or so. We later gave it a try. But she was into another guy who was into his ex and it fell apart. We were close friends for a long time afterwards. But that eventually became very one-sided. We're still Facebook friends and she's really happy, as am I. It, and a few other potential situations, served as a great lesson or two. You can't let fear get the better of you because it will F you out of some potentially massive opportunities in life. Also, holy sh, communication can help with so god darn much. So just do it. This is really good advice. The very thought of dating someone, let alone having s with them, terrifies me. I can definitely see myself chickening out of something like that.